The Jomon period is the key to understanding the world's ancient civilizations. The clay figures with the sunshades aren't aliens. Chapter 11. Female and Male Snakes and the Breath of Life.
In Okinawa's island of Miyako, the hair whorl on the head is called pisu, and the navel is called pusu. And pisu and pusu are believed to be spiritual points wherein the breath of life is blown.
It looks like today's topic is flying off to Okinawa.
No, this is actually a continuation of the previous conversation. I feel that Okinawans, just like the Ainu people, especially those of the distant islands, have a cultural connection with the Jomon culture.
So are you saying that in the legends of Miyako, there are hints to exploring the Jomon people's thinking about the breath of life?
Exactly. But not only Miyako, but in any part of Japan, an eccentric person might be referred to as a twisted hair whorl or a twisted navel. The origin of these expressions come from the idea that the entrance of the breath of life is twisted.
So the Jomon spirit lives on in the Japanese people even today in the 21st century. But there is still something I don't understand very well. Until now, according to what you have said, the seed of life is supposed to be two snakes, female and male. But suddenly, you brought up the breath of life, and each come into the body through the top of the head and the navel. Snakes and breath are totally different things. So how are they related?
For modern people and modern cats, it may be difficult to understand, but for the Jomon people, the seed of life, or the life force, was sometimes a snake and sometimes a breath. For example, to say that two entwined snakes, female and male, separate to descend into the mother is allegorical at best.
You don't see such snakes in the real world. However, one can think of the flow of air called breath as the trace of an invisible snake descending.
It's like if you see the footprints of a bear, you can't see the bear, but you know it was there.
Not quite. But I guess you could say that it was similar. In order to understand this, you need to think about the origin of the word hair whorl. Do you know what it is, Tabby?
Would it possibly originate from a whirlwind?
Correct. The hair is swirling just like a whirlwind, so it is a hair whorl. If the body of a snake descends from heaven, a flow of air would occur. The Jomon people thought that that flow of air was the breath of life, and that it swirled like a whirlwind. So when they saw the hair whorl, they thought it was the imprint of the breath of life having entered. Look carefully at the head of the Jomon Venus.
It has a very clear vortex engraved on it. It is definitely a hair whorl. So that is depicting the imprint of the entrance of the breath of life, right?
On the clay figure's face there is the tamadaki sansamon, a trident motif surrounded by beads. And see? The line that goes from there is connected to the hair whorl. Do you remember what the tamadaki sansamon is?
The meaning of the tamadaki sansamon is the same as the rope pattern on the Jomon clay pots, which represent the ancestral spirit as the two snakes waiting to be reborn in this world.
So you could say that the shape of the head is depicting the idea of the ancestral spirit, that is the two snakes, which are the seed of life, entering like a whirlwind from the top of the head into the body of the clay figure, which is the form of the woman who is to give birth.
You said that the navel is the entrance of the breath of life. So is it possible that the breath of life might enter through the navel instead of the hair whorl?
No, the breath of life would not go straight down to the navel. Just as when we looked at the Hakodate hollow clay figure, the breath of life having entered from the top of the head is exhaled from the mouth, and going down the line on the stomach heads towards the navel. And behind the navel is the womb. The navel is the entrance for blowing the breath of life into the clay figure's womb.
It seems a little complicated. How did you come to that conclusion, Doctor?
It is the result of carefully observing what the Jomon people left behind, starting with the clay figures. and continuing to explore the hearts of the Jomon people while also considering their relevance to the world's ancient cultures. In this process, for example, the concept passed down by the Shinto religion of breathing through, and the concept of Om, seen in yoga, and esoteric Buddhism have become a big hint. Next time, let's talk about that.